How many times would you guys hang out to be like, this is something?
It depends on the vibes.
Yeah,
It depends.
yeah. It's not about the number of times. Imagine she's on like 17. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to help build your brand or business online. But more on that later. Hey, welcome to The Break Room, a show where storytellers chat about life, love, and everything that comes in between. Ooh. Hey, I'm Taylor.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Austin. Today, we're doing a segment called Asking for a Friend. In this episode, we're going to be getting questions from either coworkers or from you guys about love or life. And then we're going to give our invaluable or unvaluable advice.
Nice.
Today's question comes from me.
Hey!
Because love is hard, guys.
And for
Love
you specifically.
What do you mean specifically?
Because you're looking for advice.
Oh,
And
man.
we're here to, love. That's what we're here for. As coworkers.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're here for you, man. I can't
Lay it
promise.
on us.
Okay.
What is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you want to know?
Before I ask this question, I need to preface that I don't have anyone specifically in mind when I ask this question. Just for anyone that's watching this has any questions, I'm just putting it out there. Okay.
You're asking for the class.
He's
asking for the class.
But you
and-
also kind of are curious.
Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, something that I feel like is really simple, but is actually really difficult to figure out is like, when do you like ask a friend out? You know what I mean?
Oh, shiz.
Oh.
Hey, good thing you preface that. Because
Yeah, I
all
don't
your
wanna
friends
be
watching
thinking-
are like, wow,
Yeah.
he's coming
like-
for me, baby.
But like, it's like, because when it's someone you don't know, you're like, oh, I kind of vibe with this person. I can ask them out. But if it's a friend, you're like, oh, we get along, but like, I don't know if I should risk the friendship. At what point do you make that jump?
Have you been in this situation before?
Yeah, for sure.
I have been adjacent to it and definitely think it's very relatable. A lot of people date within friend groups. Have you been in this situation?
None. I'm actually like the other end where I feel like, once I hit a certain point in our friendship, I don't see them as like a potential suitor.
Like at all. Once you're like,
At least unless something like happens, but it also depends like how close are you to this person? Mm-hmm. If you've only known them like occasionally or like, you only see them at group events, so you're not like super close, you're still you can treat them more like a stranger that you just want to get to know more. So you can ask them on a date where it's like, if you're like besties, I wonder if it's that's why it would be a lot harder to ask those people out.
I do think when it comes to showing interest in a friend, it's a little bit of a game of inception. You gotta it's like there's a little bit of understanding, like it's very likely that they might be like what Jessica says and kind of see me a certain way. And this is not necessarily a game of me just straight out sharing my feelings. It's about like providing opportunities to have one-on-one time to potentially like spark something in them and also signal subtly that you have interest and let things simmer to the point where maybe you can have a little bit more information when you go into sharing your feelings and asking out your friend.
It's a game of
So
chess.
I do think getting the help of your friends, your closest friends, and getting feedback, because they're also friends with this person too, right?
well, there's no specific person.
Right.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
If you have a friend group, if it's a friend group situation,
Hypothetically.
I think that's really helpful. Because usually like they could call you out. It's like, nah, dude, like there's no chance. Or like maybe they'll be like, hey, you gotta just try, right?
But
And they also help set up the situation for you guys to be alone
Yes.
or like have
Yeah,
those
yeah.
situations
Yeah.
together.
But what if it's like not the case where like you like them? It's more like because like there's difference between, again, like going back, like when it's a stranger and you're like, oh, let's ask them out. What's the worst that can happen? But it's a friend, you're just like, I don't want to ask them out and make it weird if I don't know that I like them.
No,
Like
just
it's
have
just like a
hang out with them. Why do you have to ask them out on a date? Why can't it just be platonic? Like,
Like a
I
platonic
just want to
hangout.
get to know you as a person, and then you decide whether or not you
I
have
do
an
think,
interest.
if you're kind of treating it casually, it's like, I don't necessarily like it, I just want to like have a
Yeah.
date or a hangout, then that's probably easier. I feel like it's an easier thing to venture into. You're just trying to find a one-on-one time to just ask.
Yeah.
Do you not think it's like mixed signals though if you ask a friend that you don't usually hang out with one-on-one and being like, hey, let's go hang out, just us.
No,
you know?
I mean,
That's
your
how
intention.
how intention. It's like, I want to get to know you. Like we're in like this friend group, and I don't really know you that well.
You're trying to make it not romantic. like the hangout.
I guess hypothetically, if we did hang out, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this still kind of feels like a date. You know what I mean? I guess I don't usually hang out with like people of opposite sex one-on-one, unless if it's like we have to do something specifically. If it's like, oh, we're going to this thing, or we have like specific thing that we both are interested in, and like then it's like, okay, there's another reason why we're going. But it's like, oh yeah, just to hang out. It's like, unless if you're like one of my really close friends, we're like already like there's nothing going on. You know what I mean?
You want to kind of find a balance where it doesn't feel like it's super datey,
Yeah.
but like not like, well, this is just a friend hangout.
Yeah.
Is that what it seems? You know what you should do? Like networking excuses.
Oh yeah.
Where it's more like, oh my God, you are very, when you're having conversations and parties and stuff, you're like, oh, you're really well informed about like credit cards or something like that. It's like, I would love to pick your brain about this stuff.
About credit cards.
Could I treat you to dinner or something?
Which credit card? Ooh, treat you to dinner? Then it really feels like a date.
It depends on like what the
Taylor.
information they're providing.
Oh man.
Or what if it's just advice about like, oh, that industry that you work in, like gaming. I'm curious about getting into gaming. You're not actually curious about getting into gaming.
So I'd lie to them?
Or like, I don't know, like you said, you're okay with going with like the opposite gender to like get food, like if you're going to like an event, right? Maybe find like that common event. Hey, I saw this on like my feed. Hey, you want to go check it out? It's really interesting. I think you might like it too.
Those are good.
But what if it's something I know that I'm not interested in? Do I need to pretend to be interested in? Because then it feels like I'm trying too hard.
No, find something you're interested in.
You should genuinely.
I need to be genuinely interested in
Don't
it.
fake these.
Yeah.
It'd be better that way.
Be a good friend first.
Find the commonality on the side somehow, and
Yeah.
then like find the event that aligns with that. Like it's a foodie thing. And you're like, oh yeah, there's like this dumpling and beer festival, and you love dumpling and beer. I don't know. I don't have anyone to go with. I want to check it out.
The dumpling and beer festival. Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
yeah.
But then she'd probably be thinking on her side too. It's like, oh my God, is this a date?
Yeah.
But if you kind of approach it with like, I kind of wanted to check it out. I don't have anyone to go with. Maybe it's tempering it a little bit.
I've never been a big fan of like having those like gray areas with relationships. I feel like I always like to be very clear. Like, this is a date. This is not a date.
Why do you have to define that? Oh, this is a date or this is just a hangout?
In my head, because I would have the ulterior motive of like, oh yeah, I want to see if this goes anywhere. You know what I mean? Like sure, we're like, I guess if I'm genuinely like, I just want to go to the thing, then I wouldn't get in my head about it. But I overthink things a lot. So if there was someone and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like kind of interested, but I'm like, oh, I have this other thing. But I'm like, oh man, is this a date? Did I just ask her on a date? I think this is a date. Should I have been more clear about it?
Maybe in this case, it sounds like it's important to define it as a date. But for you mentally, maybe it's like lowering the bar. You know what I mean? Like if any anxiety or stress comes into it when it comes to defining it as a date, maybe you can let some stuff go. Like dates
You can have a
don't
date with
necessarily have to have like a
That's
lot
true.
of pressure. It's still so early. You're really just trying to learn about each other. I mean, you're trying to like make the best first impression and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be super curated in some cases. And maybe it's like when you look at that way, you can actually balance it with, I actually am trying to enjoy this beer and dumpling festival at the same time, while also having opportunities to talk to this person and making sure that she has a good time and all that.
Is it okay then if I'm not 100% sure I'm interested in this friend, right?
Yeah.
Should I still ask her on a date, or should I try to do those like more casual things?
Casual.
My
Perspective, I feel like casual is like the safer way to go. If you are a type of person that has the intention of, this is a date, and you end up not liking her,
that feels really bad, right?
Kind of feels like you led her on thinking that, you're actually really interested in her.
Especially the opportunities to do casual stuff. Like this is someone that's like an acquaintance that you see through your friend group.
Yeah.
It's like you might as well take advantage of those opportunities to get some intel first. Get some of that legwork out of the way. You know, of like if you're interested even through those conversations. Sometimes there's people you're never gonna hang out with them unless you ask them out on a date.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's where you have to get all that information. But it sounds like most cases, get casual. I'm a fan of casual.
Make sure your friends are good wingmen and wingwomen.
My friends are terrible wingmen and
Start
wingwomen.
teaching them.
So I guess just from your perspective, if a guy, one of your friends, like just randomly started asking you to hang out a bunch of times,
How close am I?
not part of your core friend group,
Okay.
but he's like attached to that core friend group. Like he sometimes hang out with your core friend group.
I think I'll be open to it.
Okay. If he just wants to hang out,
Yeah.
how many times would you guys hang out to be like, oh, he's like for sure, this is something, you know?
I don't know. It depends on the vibes.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
depends.
It's not about the number of times.
Yeah, it's like, I can hang out with someone 100 times.
Imagine she's all like 17.
I guess
That's the magic number.
Yeah.
like
16, not enough.
it would just be like you'd have to like pick up on certain
Yeah,
vibes.
like-
Okay.
Yeah, it's all like compatibility. Most women that I know are like, oh, they kind of have a feeling within like the first date or like the first hangout of like, oh, does this person like their type and stuff? Like, do I see this going anywhere?
Because I've talked to some of my other friends about it, where
Yeah.
they think it's really frustrating when they don't know if it's a first date or not.
Yeah, I can see why it's frustrating, but that also means that they're interested or they have some,
Or they're at least
interest.
open.
Yes.
Open to it.
I think as a guy, it's like awkward to like work in. By the way, this is a date, you know. Like no one's gonna say that, but it probably is helpful to like say the cues very early on to signal that your intentions are to like kind of treat this.
Try to
as a
make it
date.
obvious.
Yeah, or like it's like and picking like her up or like offering to pay. There's certain ones that are clear that at least like kind of allow them to like kind of put their mindset in the right place as they enter the night. You don't want that like question to cloud their actions and make the situation awkward and make the date less enjoyable. Anyway, I was answering for Jessica. Yeah, that was a question for Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you great answer.
It 100% depends.
Yeah.
For your friend, how long did it take them to realize that, oh, they might actually like them? Is it something that, oh, they just saw them like, oh, they're really cute and they're like really funny or something? Or is it after years of friendship, then they became like, oh, actually, oh, I think they're my type.
From personal experience, it's been like both has happened to me before. But I feel like the second one is when I would be more like ready just to ask them out. If it's years of friendship and then when I'm like, oh, I like you, then I would just ask them out. Versus like if it's that first one, we're like, oh, like we've been friends for a while. I'm like, oh, you always thought you're kind of cool or I think kind of cute. That's the one where it's like, do I ask them out?
I think you should.
'Cause that's
You might
more
as well.
weird.
You might as well.
You think it might as well?
Because like the dates, you don't have to. You're still figuring it out. I think there's an understanding that you're both kind of figuring it out.
Okay.
And so don't feel like guilty that like you don't have a full answer when asking out a girl on a date or anyone on a date.
Or just YOLO. Just do whatever you
Just YOLO.
whatever your heart
I say
tells
go for
you.
it.
Yeah.
But if you have an opportunity first to just do something casual to figure that out, I would think do that. Because
Yeah.
that is interest. Like you're like, oh, she's cute and like I don't know, like she's nice and we have had some conversations that are good.
Yeah.
That's not. I feel like that's good enough.
So that's something.
That's
You think
something enough to like warrant you wanting to kind of explore it more.
I guess I've had points where both has worked out or not worked out.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's go.
hypothetically, out of the blue, you just like unprompted kind of like, hey, like, do you want to go out? Is like, could be like, also, it might have been like while this person was getting ready for like a test or something. That was really bad
Oh,
timing.
yeah, maybe it's
so
time-
that's
yeah.
probably a timing
Yeah.
thing more than anything else. But I could like, from that one was like,
You asked him during
Yeah,
finals
Chris-
week?
not during finals week.
You try to stress this girl out.
Yeah, no, it was in the middle of the test. He's like, psst, hey, you want to go out sometime?
But also, what's number?
Do you have a pencil? I need a blue book.
But I've also had people where like
Yeah.
girls like I was talking to her a long time and then I liked them, but then I didn't think they liked me back. So after like 6 months, tell me like, hey,
Why did you ask me out?
yeah, pretty much.
Ooh,
And I was like,
Dustin.
oh, I don't like that, Taylor.
This is a different era.
But I mean, this is college. I think college is a lot more opportunities for
Yeah.
that
Oh,
type
yeah,
of
for
stuff.
sure.
How was our advice, Austin?
I think I was confused before this on if this ever happened to you, what to do.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'm any less confused.
Oh man.
Well, oh well.
It sounds like your inner demons that you're fighting.
Yeah,
You need to resolve stuff there.
I just overthink too much. So
Or you can give him some suggestions in the comments below.
yeah, I don't know what happens to you guys. I don't know.
Yeah, what should he do?
The sponsor of today's video is Squarespace. We love Squarespace and have been using their platform to build our brand and business online for years. Squarespace's new design intelligence combines 2 decades of design expertise and cutting-edge AI to empower you to build a website perfectly tailored to fit your needs. Then get more easily discovered with the help of their integrated SEO tools. All sites on Squarespace are optimized to show up more often on global search engines. And now with Squarespace payments, it's easier more than ever to manage your payments in one place. Give your customers the option to pay through popular payment methods such as Apple Pay, ACH, direct deposit, and Klarna. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/wongfu to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, let's get back to the video.
But yeah, we're actually gonna hop into our next segment.
And we're gonna try a new segment called Read Receipts.
Yay!
Yeah. This is a segment where we psychoanalyze text messages to read between the lines and determine how to respond or not respond. Let's read those receipts.
So cheesy.
It'll get better. It'll get better as we do
It
more. of these.
really will.
Yeah. So today's receipts come from Reddit.
So receipts.
We love Reddit. I will read the ones in gray, and Jess, you want to read the blue?
Yeah.
Okay. Happy New Year, smiley face with with a halo. I wish something happened today.
Oh, thanks, Blank, for thinking of me. Happy New Year to you. And what did you want to happen today?
I really hope we can eventually see each other soon. I still remember seeing you in the morning for breakfast, and we made eye contact, and I've always had a crush on you.
Whoa. This is just like your other advice, dude.
Wow.
Do we need to read the context of this?
Don't read the context till if you guys haven't read it. I was gonna have you guys read it later, or you guys already read it.
Oh, I kind of forgot it.
Okay, so don't read the
and then I
context just
forgot
yet.
about it.
Clearly, New Year's is a great way to slide into the DMs. You know,
No, yeah.
So wishing a little happy holidays message. Did they see each other the night before? It's hard to tell here.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh, what did you want to happen today? Right?
Yeah.
So this, like, they just saw each other.
It's 12:44 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the New Year
Okay.
just happened, and then this
It
guy
just
was like,
happened.
"All right, New Year's resolution. I'm gonna make something happen."
I just can't believe they went back home at 12:44. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the ball just dropped. You guys just like dipped. Like, you couldn't like hang out more, make that thing happen.
Is this a good move? Like,
I think depending on the relationship, that I really hope part is a little bit of like a dump. He just like dumped it onto her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think is the context here?
I kind of think they've been friends. Morning breakfast is interesting.
Yeah.
I think it was college,
Okay.
Oh, in like the dorms.
a dining hall
Yeah,
situation.
Dining hall. Mhm.
And he makes eye contact with her at breakfast. I never got breakfast in the dining hall, but these are two people that did.
I feel like I never sat
What?
down to eat breakfast. I'd always pick up breakfast and go to class.
So I think it's a college thing, and then they were at a
Yeah.
college New Year's party.
Okay.
Or they weren't. They're on winter break.
Oh, but happened today.
I don't know.
I think they must have saw each other.
There's not enough context
I wish something happened today.
today. Like, oh, like a New Year's kiss?
Yeah. I think they wished for a kiss.
So you're wrong, Taylor. It's actually
dang it.
not college. These are people that met 8 years ago. Eight years ago, nothing happened. They didn't hold hands or kiss. All they did was spend time together and dance. And I believe this was on like a vacation.
They met 8 years ago and they saw each other again.
No, they didn't see each other again.
So he
was just-
texted 8 years later?
Yeah.
Boy, move on.
Dude, that's okay.
But like, if he never shot a shot after 8 years and he finally shoots a shot, you know what I mean?
But why?
Why do you say what's something happened today?
Why today of all days? Why not all 7 years before?
I think that's why this person was asking how to respond to that.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's too late. It's way too late. It's definitely to get that out of the blue. It's a lot to unpack. It's, probably someone you're not even that close with if you don't see them.
If you haven't seen them in 8 years, then
Yeah.
definitely not.
But the fact that this guy has been thinking about you for 8 years,
That's a
and
lot
like,
of power.
they really like you. You're really in their head, you know. Like they think about you a lot. I think it'd be nice to at least have sensitivity to that. If it is to like kind of let them down easy, they could be really pretty hurt.
Because they're building this image up for 8 years.
Yeah.
I think that's the dangerous part.
And this is their way of doing it. It's through a text message on New Year's Eve. Oh man,
Is it like technically love bombing a little bit?
that's what it is, huh?
Yeah.
It's a little. Love.
Oh, I didn't think about that. But okay, what if we like slightly change the context? Like, what if instead of like 8 years, right? Let's say this was like a year later. Like you met the last year at the resort or whatever, and then you're like, oh man, I never actually messaged this person, but I've been thinking about this person. Like I just never had the courage to.
Oh, is it like a cruise ship type of situation?
I think it might be something like that.
That's dope, dude.
Like, do you think at like a year would be different? Like, if it was like a year instead of 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as intense. 8 years, you can go to school. You can become a doctor.
You can have an 8-year-old child.
You have an 8-year-old child.
Yeah. And there's something about the resort and like cruise thing where it kind of like explains the distance. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we don't have lives that are intersecting. We only came together because of this resort or this cruise or this trip. And there's an understanding there a little bit, but like I'm still gonna vocalize that I miss you, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that changes my mindset about it a little bit too.
Like to give him more grace or less grace?
I give him a little bit more. I mean, the year thing is way better.
Yeah.
8 years is crazy.
8 years, I think, is so dangerous because you're not even thinking about this girl specifically. You're just thinking of this idea of that maybe like one weekend you spent with this girl. It's like that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
But a year, like people do that. They like try to like kind of rekindle something. Hopefully there was a plan there. It was like, I'm visiting your city.
I'm going back to the same resort. Are you gonna be there too?
I would love to link up with you again if you're in the area.
What I'm taking away is that it's fine to shoot your shot like that. Just don't wait 8 years.
That is true. I think it's okay to shoot your shot. I think like your response to whatever comes next is like important. But 8 years, I would encourage you to act sooner or to vocalize it sooner, or hopefully continue to live your life.
If it really is meant to be, you would run into each other randomly again.
Yeah.
Rather than you trying to make it happen.
Like, I wonder what made him want to even message her.
It seems like it's the first time she's ever heard that he's even had an issue, like interest in her. It'd be nice if it was like you guys had some type of spark there and it was kind of mutual, and that would kind of set the stage a little differently too.
But I feel like if there was a spark, at least someone on either side would like try to keep trying to keep the conversation going after whatever.
Right. Technology these days, at least be pen pals a little bit.
Yeah.
Send photos of each other. How would you respond to this message if you received it? It's 8 years ago.
8 years.
But you had a good time too. You saw them in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah, like you didn't think this was like a weird guy. It's someone you liked hanging out with enough where you did give him your number.
So think about yourself 8 years ago.
I'd be nice of like, oh, I'm very flattered that you had a crush on me, but it's been 8 years. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Next, kind of
Bye.
bye.
What if
Block caller.
So even if you were, what if you were kind of interested in him at that time?
I think it really depends on like, what stage I am in my life. Am I single? Am I looking for a relationship at this point? And like, am I in my YOLO era, I guess? It's like, why not? We had a good time. And he lives close to me. Might be down if there was like no red flags from what I remember back then. Really depending on the mindset of the person in that moment.
Okay, how would you respond, Austin?
I think I'm gonna be honest. If I remembered her and I remember being like kind of interested, I would probably at least be open to keep talking.
You wouldn't shut it down.
If I wasn't interested in her at all, probably like try to find a way to end the conversation really quickly. Be like, oh haha.
Oh haha.
Oh haha. Haha. You're gonna laugh at her face? You're gonna laugh at her face for saying that she had a crush on you?
I don't know.
She had the courage to tell you that she liked you, and you just laughed in her face.
You would try to shut it down somehow.
I would try to shut it. If I wasn't interested at that time, like at all, then I wouldn't then give her another chance because it's been 8 years. But if I was already like a little bit interested and then be like, oh, yeah, we got along, I would probably be open to at least keep talking.
You wouldn't ask her on a date?
I would want to talk a little bit more. I mean, if she's like in the area and she's like, oh, I'm visiting, I'm gonna be like, I remember you're like in this area or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, probably. But I wouldn't be like, after 8 years, like, oh yeah, let's go on a date. You know what I mean? But I guess if this person got that, that's like, oh, you're on the same wavelength then. You know what I mean? How about you, Taylor?
Okay, if I didn't have interest, like it was like for sure no interest,
Yeah.
I would try to ease out of it too in the text message, but I would do it in like 3 messages in the like down the line. I'd be like, the first message would be like, oh my gosh, it's so good to hear from you. Wow, I had no idea about this. Yeah, that was really fun back then. I really had some good memories of that. How are you? I don't know. And then let them respond, and I'd be like, oh, cool. yeah, so just so you know, like, in a different place now, and blah 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 blah, and let them down easy, like deeper into it.
Wow, so you would not lead them on, but you'd let them have a little bit more hope for a little bit.
Or just like, let's talk about the memory of that weekend.
Let's
have
live in the
some
memory.
let's have some positives. I want to have some commonality, at least in the fact that we both were there.
Give them a little bit of closure with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I
Okay.
remember making eye contact with you. Man, that breakfast was delicious.
You're
They had
giving them,
unlimited bacon.
like the compliment sandwich.
Yeah, the compliment sandwich. Compliment sandwich is my go-to. And after you let them down, you'd be like, but I'm glad to hear you're still doing okay. If you're ever in the area, you want to grab coffee, just as friends, I'm down to grab coffee. If I'm single and then like there's like some interest, I would just try to keep the conversation
Yeah,
going.
you see where it goes. You just see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're very nice,
Wow.
Taylor.
Yeah, not ha ha ha.
Okay. Well, that was
a great
read
text.
receipts.
Was that good advice? Who knows? We might even have the whole story wrong.
Yeah.
We're just inferring based off what's there.
We're just kind of guessing here.
This is like kind of a new segment that we're trying out because we've been doing this on the side outside when the cameras aren't rolling for text messages. Our friends have been receiving too. And it's fun to kind of just break it down as a group. But we want to hear from y'all, either for the asking for a friend segment or the read receipts segment. If you have any questions or text message exchanges that you want deciphered or analyzed or just need advice from us, submit it in the submission form down below.
Yeah, and let us know if you guys like this type of content. We're thinking about doing more of this in the future. So yeah, just let us know.
If you think it's crappy and we no one wants to hear from us, it's good to know. Let us
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
If you like our advice, also let us know. That's helpful.
Even if the advice isn't helpful, if it's entertaining, that's great.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.